Oh, Morgan, it's our favorite time of the year.
Oh, Deuce. What time of year is that?
Oh, I'm being sarcastic. It's a time where rumors fly everywhere and then we all overreact to them together. And then it doesn't happen. And you go, oh, wait, I spent so much time and energy thinking about this. And today's edition features Trae Young
and
Darius
Garland.
Apparently, the Kings would have interest in those two, if you believe some of the reports out there that we'll go into. I do have some breaking news at this hour. The Kings don't really have a point guard. They're probably going to be tied to any point guard that would be available.
Facts.
But let's start with this report that came out this week. This is from Grant Hazeth.
Okay.
Probably messing up his name.
No, you did it right.
Big GS.
Big GS.
Here's what he wrote. The Sacramento Kings have identified Cleveland Cavaliers point guard Darius Garland as a trade target as they seek to address the team's vacancy at the lead guard this offseason. Multiple league sources told RG. Sacramento is motivated to find a long-term solution at point guard after trading Fox in February. I'm also going to add, and they had Tyrese at one point too. Okay. Anyway, however, Garland recently underwent toe surgery and faces a lengthy recovery. It remains to be seen if he'll be available to start the regular season, which is naturally a factor in any potential trade suitor, and they might weigh that. Anyway, while Sacramento has interest in Garland, multiple league sources told RG that the Atlanta Hawks have spoken with the Kings on a potential trade framework centered around Trae Young in recent weeks. So, your first reaction when you hear Kings could be interested in Trae Young and Darius Garland?
My first reaction. Do you want my honest?
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. No, it was truly like, okay, give me any names. Like, do something with these names. And you see in this league that if you find the right basketball players, it's not about having the biggest names. It's about having the right basketball players together on a team, because this is a team sport and it works in different roles. Like, shit can work. So when you give me those two names right away, I'm like, sure. Not without the rosters constructed, but sure.
I like those two names.
Yeah.
I don't know that I like them here and now, and what else is around them. I'm sorry. Here, let's start with Trae Young.
Thank you.
Trae Young, a dynamic scorer in this
Absolutely.
league. Led the league in assists last year. In fact, last season, 24 points a game, 11.6 assists, 3 rebounds, 41% shooting, 34% from three. He's a 4-time All-Star.
Yeah.
Tremendous resume.
Absolutely.
He's 6 foot, 167 pounds. And I'm watching the finals. I've watched the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can't have it. Hell, I've watched the Kings, for the last couple of years.
Fair.
You can't have a team full of players that you can hunt if you're trying to be serious about winning. How would they even get that trade done for Trae Young? Number one. Number two, how are you going to put a team together that would cover up for his weaknesses and put together a winning team around him?
Right. I think because, if anything, if you're the Hawks, it seems like you'd be probably in one of the best situations he could actually be in right now.
I actually think, you look at the Hawks, they had the same record as the Kings last year, 40-42. But like Jalen Johnson, who is such a fun player.
Yep.
Another guy the Kings had drafted. They drafted Davion Mitchell that year. But anyway, Jalen Johnson got hurt.
Yes.
Right? He was limited in action. But you know what? They got Dyson Daniels in that trade for Murray. And you're like, dude, there's something here. You have some long athletic guys around Trae Young. It's not perfect. And they have some weaknesses that they definitely need to address, but it's really not terrible. And if you look around at the East right now, you're like, all right, Boston, who knows what they're going to look like next year with Tatum missing the whole year. Indiana's going to be in the mix. The Knicks, I don't know. There's a lot in the air. You can make the case that just keeping Trae Young might actually work for the Hawks.
Absolutely. And also, like, you think about his age, 27, 28?
He's going to turn 27 in September.
He's in his prime years. And there could be this shift in Trae Young that even understands what type of player he needs to be with his size in the NBA. And even if he has that mental shift and he understands, like, what he can actually do out there, like, I feel like he kind of made that tweak even this year, right?
Yeah, I feel like everyone harps on his defense. I actually think his defense has gotten better, but the reality is he's just going to be limited. When you're
Absolutely.
that size, you look around the league, there's a lot of, New York faced this with Brunson. Brunson is a shorter guy, but he's stronger.
He's like
and they
girthy.
hunted the hell out of him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not the best defender. So, but he's turning 27. I think one of the factors that's looked at is his contract situation coming up because his salary is 45.9, then 48.9, and he's going to need an extension soon. And the question is, can the Hawks convince him to take less than the max to keep him?
Yeah.
To build something,
which he's
him.
not a max player. I mean, it's just no, because here's the thing. Every player that reaches a certain amount of years in this league and has done a certain amount of stuff is a max player. Then that's just what
by
we do.
how the NBA has operated with the last
player.
15 years. He's
yeah.
a max.
Yes.
Here's how you're a max player. One team needs to give you the max.
Yep.
Okay?
No, it's so true.
Yeah,
it's so true.
Now it's a different question. Is he worth the max? He's a really good player. I just go when I hear the Sacramento stuff, and I know we're so desperate. It's like, hey, you need a point guard. You need what you call a star or whatever. And he's definitely been an all-star in this league. But I go, yeah, but you're trying to also win games. And if you have a team that has Trae Young and Domantas Sabonis on the roster,
oh yeah,
there could be some fun things offensively with those two for sure in the pick and roll game and with Trae's shooting and playmaking ability. But defensively,
you have your limitations. You're not putting on the perimeter pressure, and then your second line of defense isn't necessarily going to protect the rim. I mean, although like people want to shit on Domas so many times, but he also finishes off a defensive play, right? Always grabbing a defensive rebound, leading the league in rebounds at times. I don't remember if it was specifically last year, so I don't want to say that with so much confidence, but the year before. But my whole point of this being is like, yes, when you look at today's league and what has led to so much success into this postseason, it's really what's been going down on the defensive side or being elite on the offensive side. And I think when you just try and put together a whole bunch of players that are identified as good offensive players over the years in the NBA and you shove them on one team, it doesn't make them a good team. It doesn't just make them a good team, a good offensive team, right? And so that's where we're getting into that territory, and that's where things are kind of bugging me.
Yeah, and you go, well, Deuce, why couldn't the Kings build a team that makes sense around Trae Young? Why don't they trade this guy and this guy? I just think it's challenging, right? Like I don't think the Kings have a ton of friendly deals. The LaVine deal, I don't think teams are jumping for joy to take on Zach LaVine's last couple of years. Sabonis' deal, I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong on this. Who knows what this could look like, I guess. I mean, so if you got Trae Young and you could actually put the right pieces around him, okay, I'm thinking differently, but I'm just like, I guess I'd be surprised if Scott Perry in his first year as GM is going like extreme makeover here and is, even if he wants to, is able to execute that.
I mean, didn't you have something with Scott Perry talking about Trae Young too?
God,
bring that up. As you bring that up, I'll keep talking about how
I'm so mad at myself for forgetting this,
No,
Morgan.
thank you. And I remember you telling me earlier today, you're like, well, Scott Perry talked about Trae Young, and I was like, oh.
So Scott Perry used to be on this podcast, a Hoop Genius podcast. Same with Kings assistant GM BJ Armstrong. So I'm guessing this podcast is not going to be a thing anymore. Anyway, there was that clip that circulated about Zach LaVine, where Scott Perry is talking about LaVine and saying, yeah, he's a talented player, but he's how much of can he be your best guy?
A winning
he's more
player.
of a number 3 guy. He hasn't been to playoffs. Some very fair criticisms. I decided to go on the podcast page and search Trae Young, and there was a clip that was posted with a guy he hosted with, this guy named Mo, talking about the Hawks last year. And here's a brief glimpse into what Scott Perry had to say about Trae Young.
Taking nothing away from Trae Young, Trae Young is a talented basketball player. And just like with any other player, he has his strengths and his weaknesses. The weaknesses to his game really show up a lot of times in playoff basketball. He lacks size. He's not a good individual defender, so teams will seek him out on that end of the floor. So unless he's just really has it going in a huge way offensively, he can become a liability.
So there's Scott Perry talking about Trae Young. What was your reaction to hearing that?
I mean, It's he's dead on. I mean, it's just he's just analyzing this player. Like, what do you want? What do you want to hear from him? I don't want to hear some bullshit. I don't want to hear sugarcoating.
I guess my point to it is it's just a brief glimpse into maybe his thought into what type of player Trae Young is. And it's not to say he's not talented. It's not to say that he's not an all-star caliber player. But as you build this out, you have to start thinking about the types of players you want to put forth to try to win a championship. And I know that seems crazy to even talk about championship. Let's get back to the playoffs for a couple of years. I get all that. But I just wonder if it even is the right target at this time. Unless Scott Perry has something up his sleeve that we just don't know about. And the other name, Darius Garland, I kind of have similar feelings about Darius Garland. He's a better defender, but he's still 6'1", weighs more, close to 200 pounds. I feel like he's gone better almost every year he's been in the league. He's been on the All-Star team twice. Good shooter, too. He also plays on a defense that has Evan Mobley, Jared Allen,
but he contributed. Hunter. He contributes.
Yeah, but again, I wouldn't say defense is a strength.
I guess I'm comparing to Trae Young right now. So yeah, I need to stop comparing right now. I don't need to compare point guards. But yes, it's more absolutely like not necessarily what he's known for. But then you look on the offensive end, and I mean, he's still young, 25-ish, I believe. He likes the ball in his hands and can do a lot when the ball is in his hands. But I still believe that he could be a floor manager out there and create for others because he can be a threat with the basketball while doing so much more with his size on both ends of the floor. I actually like Garland. I really like Garland. I'm with you. Like, I think he's gotten better every single year. I think the only thing is when you look at his health and then you obviously look into even just going into the season, like, where's his trade value at, right? Like, is it lower because he's has this surgery, or is it at a higher mark because of the way he's been playing?
He makes $39.4 million next year. It goes up to 42 and then 44.8. So 3 years left on that deal. Last year averaged 20.6 points a game, 6.7 assists, 3 rebounds, 47% from the field, 40% from three-point land in 75 games. But again, it's another guy that's kind of like a smaller guy. I guess for me, it's all about team build. And I already know, like, I've already heard this from some people who've mentioned, like, dude, are you watching Tyrese Halliburton? He is not a good defensive point guard. Yeah, but it's all about team construction. And also, Tyrese Halliburton has good size and length, defensive IQ, good instincts. Like, he's a good help defender at times. One-on-one, okay, some mistakes.
And still has room to grow.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
But he has a size advantage that I like.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Someone mentioned Jalen Brunson. I go, yeah, here's the thing about Jalen Brunson. Super talented player. But I think, you look at what happened with the Knicks. They've got two very talented players in Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, who are not good defensive players. And where are they at right now?
At home.
They're at
Cancun.
home. They're at home. You know why? Because both those guys get hunted. I think in today's league, you cannot have you can only have like one of your guys be kind of like defender. Mm-hmm. Guys have to be able to guard.
You either have to do that, or we already talked about this. You have to be so elite on the other end, pushing the ball up the floor, like literally fast paced. No one can stop you kind of offense, where it's like that is where you thrive in, and then you're good. Or you're okay. You're going to be a 500 team and maybe make the playoffs. Like, great. If you're in Sacramento, great. Standards are low right now.
Trae Young could do that. I mean, if he had shooting
you
around
say,
him,
but you say that, but like, what are you doing with Zach LaVine's contract?
Yeah, and
you know what I mean? And
we go
so
back
it's
to
like
this.
You go back to roster construction.
Who are you trading? Because here's what I do know: you cannot start if you started next season with Trae Young and Zach LaVine. I'm going to convince another NBA team just to sign me and Morgan to a 10-day when they play Sacramento, and I guarantee you, me and Morgan are getting buckets on LaVine and Trae Young. I know.
That's so stupid.
That's a problem.
That's so mean.
Why is that mean?
That's so dumb.
They're just, you can't.
I would never say that, and I did not say that. For the record, he just said that.
Is that disrespectful?
No, like when we said like we could probably get a bucket on Jimmer, like back in the day. Like that's like makes more sense. Like I'm being so realistic here, but yes, I get what you're saying.
But think about this. If you had a line that had somehow had Trae Young, Zach LaVine, and Sabonis.
I know.
I mean, okay, like there's no defenders out there. And look, I've already seen a group that this year with LaVine, DeMar out there.
Oh,
I mean, it's a challenge defensively. And it doesn't mean these guys aren't talented. It doesn't mean, it just means that this league is more talented than ever, and versatility matters for me. When I'm looking at team construction, I want guys who could play a couple of positions, who are supreme athletes, who can push the pace on offense, who can knock down shots. It doesn't have to be stars. You need some star quality talent, no doubt about it. But if your star can't guard, then you're probably not going to win a ring unless you have everything working right
and
around
you say a ring, and I know that's obviously that's ultimately the goal, guys. Like, duh. But like, can we be real in Sacramento? It's like ultimately it's about trying to make the playoffs and finding sustainable success with that. Because I think sometimes people leap to some of these bigger names when the offseason comes and reporters are out there saying this could be the biggest, NBA offseason with so many moving parts.
That's the word. They act like we could be getting action in a matter of days, maybe right when the NBA Finals is over. Durant gets moved, and look out.
Absolutely. Things can happen. I completely understand that. But I think for the Sacramento Kings, it's not always about just like getting that big name in here. It's about actually constructing a team that can make sense from contracts, from what it looks like with the NBA always changing and evolving with what's working, not just analytics, not just big names. You know what I mean? It's just like you got to have people that are going to bring in the combination that will be sustainable success.
So,
yeah,
I'm not in on these moves then.
Well,
because I don't think they could do anything around it.
That's the issue. Because I like both these players, but I don't see it happening in Sacramento.
Okay, the Celtics are interesting to watch now too.
Okay,
because Tatum ruptures his Achilles, and then Shams has a report today that the Celtics are exploring the trade market for Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Sam Hauser. In addition to that, they would potentially listen to a trade with Jaylen Brown or Derek White. But they're definitely exploring the market with the first three I mentioned because of the luxury tax and this new ownership group.
Jaylen Brown's always talked about. So,
I wonder what the Celtics are going to do here. But you start thinking about names Sacramento could swoop in on. Okay, Porzingis. If he's available, he makes $30 million expiring. What is his value around the league right now? Because you know how talented he is, but like even though the Celtics won a championship last year, he was banged up. This year, the mystery illness that no one has really disclosed what the hell's going on, but he's like having trouble breathing.
So wait, why is this intriguing to you? You're
really
not selling it.
Sorry. If healthy, isn't Porzingis the perfect guy next to Sabonis?
Literally, his middle name is if healthy.
Yeah, but I mean,
Kristaps, if healthy, Porzingis. No,
there's a Kaiser attached right to the arena.
There is. Great point. Yeah.
I mean,
no, that's so it. And I get what you're saying, but it's like to do what? I just said I want sustainable success.
Yeah, but but you also have to. I hear that.
What does that bring in for you? I mean,
Are you serious?
No, not him as a player, but like for even the next year.
I'm saying so. You're right. Long term, it doesn't fix everything long term. But if you're trying to be like, hey, we had a tough year last year. We're trying to like get things going in the right direction. Let's tweak some things, improve some of our weaknesses, so we could just be better next year. And how you're better with Porzingis, spacing the floor, rim protector. You floor. Play him at the 4, Sabonis at the 5, and you can move Keegan to the 3. And then, you still need a point guard. But you're better if you have a healthy Porzingis on your squad.
100. Anyone's better with the healthy Porzingis.
Okay.
Expiring contract.
a Porzingis. You're better if you have a Porzingis who plays 60 games for you.
That's fair.
So
Can't even win an NBA award
But
at that point.
is that a gamble that you take something like that and you go, what's that mean long term? You're right. Long term, I don't know what it means because it would depend on what type of season he has. Do you want to extend him? You come rid of that? Blah blah blah.
You
blah.
take that gamble if he's the missing piece to what you're trying to do. That's when you take that gamble.
Next season, starting at point guard, Russell Westbrook. Oh my God.
Where's he
starting
going?
at forward, Kristaps Porzingis. Do not be surprised if the Westbrook stuff.
I know.
Because he's a name out there, and if it's you can't really, we haven't been able to swing a trip. We just need a guy that can run a team. He's out there and he'd be cheap. Sign him to a 1-year deal and look out, triple doubles.
It's just so it's so wild to think about that point guard position. For the
I don't know.
Kings.
I'm fascinated by it. I think this offseason, as we just spent so much time just speculating, it's so fun thinking about all these things because you have a new general manager and these players on this team are not any players that he acquired.
Yeah.
So what type of how different is it going to look? I mean, I think Scott Perry is smart enough to look at going, hey, you had Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, and Levine. That's too much going on there. I think he's smart enough to understand hey, there's we need to get longer. Keegan at the 3 makes a lot of sense. How do we help out Sabonis?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we just get a completely new team next year.
Well,
None of
there's
this matters.
pieces on this team too. That's the crazy part. Is there's actually pieces on this Kings team that make sense with today's NBA. That makes sense. Keon.
If you can bring back Jake LaRavia.
Absolutely.
Devin Carter. I think he makes sense as a defender for sure.
Sure. Yeah. That extra energy guy, spark off the bench.
I'm still a Sabonis guy.
I am too.
I understand his weaknesses more than ever. Trust me. But I still think it's just so hard to be. I don't know.
When you have that type of player, that just plays with that type of passion, that type of fire, you want that on your team. Sometimes it doesn't translate the right way to teammates, and other times it's exactly what you need. It's tough. It's tough with him, but I can only imagine him being here, so I'm down with it.
Let us know how you're feeling about all of these trade possibilities. Are there players that you have in mind? Do you want to take a swing at Trae Young? Hit us up in the YouTube comments. And for the audio people, you could do Spotify comments now.
Oh, hell yeah.
So you drop comments there or go to deuceandmo@gmail.com. And hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The